Hi guys, it's the Walking Zero Dead here, king of the anime and manga boxes here on YouTube. Today I'm going to be geeking out over my favourite mangaka of all time, Naoki Urasawa. The Naoki Urasawa Big 3. So I'm going to be doing you 3 recommendations, one on Monster, one on 20th Century Boys and one on Pluto. I'm going to tell you what I love and what I hate about each of these series. Hopefully you go check them out, and also for you guys that have read these series and you're a fan, there's going to be a ton of questions at the end of it for you guys to get involved with. So, the first series that I'm going to be talking about is Naoki Urasawa's Monster. What a brilliant series. It follows Dr. Kenzo Tenma, this neurosurgeon who saves the life of a young boy who gets shot in the head, who winds up to be a serial killer. The Monster asks the question of, is Tenma willing to give up on his ideals and what he believes in order to stop the monster that he created? Tenma goes off and searches for Johan, and he encounters both the best and the worst in humanity, and he and the reader witnesses the capacity for changing people. Monster is the exploration of what creates a monster, and in doing that it presents the audience and Tenma himself with a complex and gripping morality play. And what I love about this series is the characters. In my opinion, it's got the best cast of characters that I've ever seen in an anime or a manga. They just feel really organic, and they feel like real people. Really, they're written to feel like real people. You've got Dr. Tenma, this character that struggles against his ideals. He believes that all life's equal. He believes in saving life, and he has to go out there and take a life. And he's really struggling towards, is it right? What if I'm trained to go kill someone? I'm on the run, and I'm after this guy, and is what I'm doing right? And it's so great to see the weight of the world on this guy's shoulders, and we get to see him go from being a young man that's got the world ahead of him to essentially looking like a bum living on the streets, and he looks depressed and broken, and it's just such a great transformation to see of him. There's other great characters like Eva. She's such a gold digging piece of shit, and you love her for that because she's so well written that you don't care that she's like that. She's just such a good female character. You've got Nina or Anna, who is a razor blade away from being just like Johan because she's got such a dark and twisted backstory, and she's such an interesting character. She's a great second protagonist for Tenma in this series. You've got Inspector Lunge, who's a really quirky, borderline, you could say, sort of a bit psychotic, sort of obsessed inspector, and he's such a quirky character. He goes and he sort of accesses stuff in his brain. He's such a weird character. Obviously you got Johan Liebert. Some people consider him to be the best anime villain of all time. Real dark, twisted backstory. He's the sort of villain you'd never see coming. He's quiet, polite, well spoken, well mannered, but really he's downright evil and sadistic and manipulative, and he's just so good. And then you've got Wolfgang Grimmer. Man, this guy has got a split personality, but he's got a heart of gold, but at the same time he's so brutal. I love the characters. Great characters. Highly recommend you go check this series out if you've never watched the anime or read the manga. Definitely worth a read and a watch. So the next Naoki Urasawa series that I'm going to be talking about is 20th Century Boys. Arguably his greatest work, his masterpiece, 20th Century Boys. It's got a 3-part live action movie. It's also got 21st Century Boys, a 2-part manga. Real good series. Personally, this is actually my least favourite, which I know would be quite shocking to some people. But this is my least favourite, but it's about Kenji, this failed rock musician, and one of his best friends from his childhood sort of is killed, and it just ends up being linked to this religious cult leader called the Friend, who's trying to take over Japan, and Kenji's the only one that can save the world. And honestly, I'd say this is the best written. It's got the best storyline. It's the best puzzle plot out of all of his sort of psychological thriller series. It's so good. It's so well crafted, and everything weaves together at some point, and all the little pieces come together, and it's such a great series. My only biggest flaw of this series is that sort of over the halfway point it does drag out a little bit towards the end, but apart from that, it is a great series. That's such a tremendous sense of mystery and urgency to finding out who Friend is, this religious cult leader. Kenji also just a total badass. I really love how they sort of make music a real great like symbolism. Like there's a great symbolism with music in this series. It's great, and I'm a big fan of the Goonies. If you don't know it, and to me this feels like if the Goonies grew up but they were Japanese and they went on another adventure, and that's what I just love about this series. It's great sense of adventure, a great sense of like mystery, some real interesting cool characters. Highly recommend you go read it. The movies are actually not bad, the live action movies. I've got to say, I watched all of them and I thought, man, you know, they're pretty good. 20th Century Boys, Believe in Friend. So finally we come to Pluto, in my opinion Naoki Urasawa's best and greatest work, as well as his most underappreciated work. Not a lot of people have actually read this series and it's always on like their to read list, but this is an alternate retelling of the Astro Boy classic shonen storyline, the 7 greatest robots on Earth. It basically follows Detective Gazette as he unravels like the mystery of who is killing off the 7 greatest robots on Earth. Real great mystery, and the reason that I feel this is Naoki Urasawa's best work is we get everything that makes him a great mangaka just solid. It's all just completely solid. You know, we get great themes of like racism, robot rights, what does it mean to be human, you know, themes of like dreams and reality and all that sort of stuff. It's got, in my opinion, the best pacing because it's only 8 volumes long, so it doesn't suffer from any sort of like dragged out storytelling or subplots. It happens quickly, but it never feels like rushed. You've got great characters that honestly you invest in, and a lot of characters in this series die, and there's a lot of shocking deaths, and you generally feel, you know, like holy crap, that character's died. You know, there's some real great characters like North 2 and Duncan in like chapter, I think it's like 4 and 5, which are sort of arguably probably some of my most favourite chapters ever, because honestly they nearly made me mad here. I was like, wow. And then, you know, in a handful of chapters he made me invest in each of the 7 greatest robots, and when it came time for them to die and you knew they were going to die, you were like, shit, I don't want that character to die, that character's so cool. And you know, what can you say about that? If he can make you invest in characters in like 1, 2, 3 chapters times and give you some real shocking deaths, you can't go wrong, man. And you've got the great mystery of, you know, who's killing off all of the 7 greatest robots. Why is this person killing off all the 7 greatest robots? Gazette himself, the main character, incredible backstory, full of mystery, real dark, gritty mystery sort of like backstory, which has got its own set of like themes towards it. His whole backstory is its own subplot to the overall story. Honestly, this is why I think it's his best. It's got great themes, great pacing, great characters, that great Naoki Urasawa thriller mystery element to it. Highly recommend you go check out Pluto. It's actually my favourite manga of all time. So now it's on for the questions, guys. So for all you Naoki Urasawa fanboys out there, I've got a ton of questions for you guys. What do you honestly feel is his best work? And maybe it could be Billy Bat or Master Keaton. What is your personal favourite out of all of his works? Name me your 2 favourite characters and why. What is your favourite scene from any of the series? And favourite character death? Obviously put like spoiler above that so no one, you know, goes, oh, you spoiled it for me. And if you haven't checked out any of his series, what series will you be checking out and why? And, you know, give it the old thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Remember to give us those comments, guys. Please subscribe. I do anime, manga, video games, Walking Dead, tons of awesome geeky shit on my channel. May the sun never set on the British anime empire.